Hopefully, you won't experience heat exhaustion when you're hiking in the desert. But if you do, get in the shade, throw a wet bandana around your neck, and sip on some water. If there isn't any shade, make some. In this video, we're going to learn some basics of hiking in the Southwest and how to make a quick shade shelter with just an emergency blanket and some cord. Let's learn how to avoid this life-threatening situation. So, you planned your trip, you've told a friend where you're going and when you'll be back, you've studied the map, the key features, surrounding area, where people will be if you need help. And of course, you leave a message under the driver's seat, just in case. Your information, contact information, any medical condition you might have, and of course, when you plan to be back. It's time to hit the trail. But, here at the car, before you go, camel up. Having the proper hydration is important. Drinking your fill at the car before you head out will ensure that you're properly hydrated for the trip. Let's get on the trail. At the trailhead, you'll probably find signs that give you some information about where you're heading, what to do, and of course, a trail map. If there's a place to sign in, definitely do that. But take a picture of the trail map on your phone. That way you'll have a reference. Hiking the Southwest Desert just really is different because everything is so dry. Here we are up in the high desert, some pines near Flagstaff, but it's dry. So water and shade is mostly what we're going to be talking about. Of course, we'll get into emergency shade and whatnot, but water and shade. Take a break in the shade. Whether you're in the high desert like this, we're the only animals stupid enough to be out here exposed in the middle of the day. Most of the year, you don't see all the incredible wildlife that's out here in the Sonoran Desert because they all know it's just too dang hot. The Sonoran Desert has more wildlife, flora and fauna, than anywhere else in the world, except for the rainforest. You've got coyote, coyotes, bighorn, cats, but they all find shade during the day. The little critters too. The ants, scorpions, black widows, they're all going to be in the shade. So rule number one, when you're hiking in the desert, keep your eyes peeled, especially in the shade. That's where they'll be. Shit. You want to look under and around you all the time. We don't want to sit on an anthill or run up to that saguaro to take a selfie without taking a gander at what's underneath it first. Alright? This is where that rattler will be, or one of those ankle biter baby cactus. Get you. Let's talk about cactus. Let's not get too close to that thing. Here's your cactus basics. Saguaro. Ouch. big thorns, pliers, barrel cactus, hooked, ouch, pliers, and maybe wire cutters if necessary. Jumping cholla, 2 sticks or a comb, flick them off. Ouch, from I swear I was 5 feet away. All these little pods can come off. They bounce off, and that's how it germinates. Teddy bear cholla, but don't be cuddling with it. So now, let's take a look at the terrain. I'm gonna flip you. Granite, shale, screed, clay, volcanic. It's like caliche. It's like the desert couldn't decide. This is the stuff that's hard to negotiate sometimes. Also, foot placement becomes pretty important on stuff like this. Let's see if I can get this for you. When ascending or descending, it might be better to try to use the whole sole of your shoe. Instead of trying to get a grip with the toe in, like you can in many areas, here, the whole grip of the shoe might be useful on upward climbs. This stuff, slippery. Feet out at the edges, more traction, using that full foot. Find the least resistance and least shale. Don't pick the rocks that are loose. Right there. Look at that. You hit that one, and your foot's going somewhere. Somewhere not good. I'll tell you that much. These are those ankle biters we're talking about. These things will twist an ankle faster than you can spit. Watch your footing. It all just takes a little more attention than in most other places. So, keep your eyes on what's underneath you and around you. Bees. Bees have become the single most dangerous critter out here. Killer bees got here in the 80s, and they pretty much just took over. All bees in the Southwest are basically now killer bees. Now, they're perfectly safe if they're doing their thing on the flowers next to you. No problem. But it's when you unknowingly start approaching one of their hives. They defend their hives vigorously. Here's what happens. You'll be out doing a hike, and one will just start buzzing around you. One bee. It's telling you, but you're not listening. Pretty soon, there's 2 bees. Maybe 3. And then, they start doing flybys, tapping you on the head as they come by. One bee, another bee. What they're doing is leaving pheromones on you that the rest of the hive can follow. If you keep going, if you haven't gotten the message that this is the wrong way, you're going to be swarmed. And there's no deterrent. All you can do is run in the opposite direction as fast as you can with your mouth closed and not towards me. When you get about 200 yards or more away, they should start dropping off, going back to the hive. But you're going to be stung hundreds, maybe thousands of times. Take some Benadryl and get to a hospital. People survive, but we have in Arizona around 50 deaths a year from bees. More than almost all other critters combined, big and small. But of course, it's still the dry heat that's the biggest danger. The Sonoran Desert is where the devil comes to warm up. Single-digit humidity much of the year. Triple-digit temperatures. Sun pounding down. And of course, bouncing up. Reflective heat. Swirling conductive heat all around you. So much heat that your sweat evaporates faster than your body can make it. And if it's not hot, it's going to poke, prick, bite, or sting you. So, shade is your best friend. And then every so often, frozen grapes. If someone is suffering from serious heat exhaustion or dehydration, you want to get them into the shade and put a wet bandana around their neck and have them sip on water. But often, there's very little shade to be had. So if you can't find shade, make some. If you've got them in the shade and they're not better in 15 or 20 minutes, you need to get help. But let's make a quick shade shelter to show you how it's done. You can use anything, a blanket, piece of plastic, jacket. But let's get out of the heat to do this part of the video. That's better. Let's finish this video with some first aid basics for heat. One thing you'll get out of the desert is dehydrated. If someone is suffering from the effects of heat, the first signs are often headache, nausea, maybe worse, could be fatigued, or have excessive thirst or sweat. These signs can be easily missed or taken as something else, like just a hard work week, maybe effects of the party last night, or something simple, irregularities in the diet. I call this the gotta get there syndrome. All these different symptoms can make us grumpy, argumentative. They seem to discombobulate your judgment. People make bad choices when they're dehydrated. They're in a bad way and they don't know it. So, you might say to a grumpy partner, hey, let's take a break, have something to drink. And they'll say no. No, we got to get there. Let's just get there. That's the first sign. After a while, I'll just say, hey, I got to take a break. We sit down in the shade, drink some water, eat some frozen grapes. 15 or 20 minutes, we're fine. That's all it takes. You've got to give your body enough time to cool down a bit before moving on. Because they're dehydrated. They may be just a few steps away from heat exhaustion, or worse, heat stroke. And if they gotta get to that, then you're both in a world of hurt. And you're not going to be getting anywhere. Of course, bad judgment being what it is, these symptoms are exponentially more difficult to recognize in yourself if you're the one experiencing it. Stupid is as stupid does. It's sort of like the only way to recognize heat exhaustion is to have experienced it. And that's just Johnson's. So, what's it all mean? Well, let's find out. And that's where a blanket comes in. An emergency blanket, or a jacket, a tarp, or the fly of your tent. Can be made into a quick shade shelter that'll keep them going, get them cooled off. Take a wet bandana, put it around their neck, cool the carotids, and have them sip on water. Let's make a quick shade shelter out of an emergency blanket. The SOL heat sheet, unlike a Mylar blanket, the heat sheet is rubberized polyethylene, a little quieter, a little more puncture resistant, stronger, stretches a bit, and won't just tear out or rip when it gets a nick or a puncture in it as easily as Mylar. Now, it doesn't have any grommets or loops to tie out from, so we're going to have to make some. Let me show you how that's done. We're going to make buttons for those corners. We're going to use some 2mm cord that we have here. I usually put 30 or 40 feet in with the SOL heat sheet. We're going to take that, make a quick slip knot out of it. That slip knot will go around our quarter, right? Underneath the corner of the heat sheet. So put that in the corner, wrap it up with this. Now that, we're going to anchor the other end. We've got our button on one side. Our cord, anchor this to whatever's high. If you got something like a tree, just use that. There's a lot of things you can do from here, but just for expediency, let's throw it under our pack for now. And maybe put a rock on it, why not? Now let's say we want this other end up nice and high, but there's nothing here to tie out to that's high, right? Alright, well, let's try and make something. Alright, we got another loop. Ideally, I want this kind of high, so I found a stick. Let's get that right about here. All there is a bush here behind me, so get something nice and quick to that. Around a good thick part of it. Another little trucker's hitch, because this one will be the tensioning one. And our shade is almost complete. Not going to be great in the wind with this stick, but no wind today. I got lucky. That'll do that. One more corner to go. But we can see it taking shape. Let's say we drop this one down here. We want that a little higher. Let's get another stick. Why not? So we got another knot here, going up to another stick, taking that sun off of us on this side. Now, of course, I did all this under the shade of a nice Palo Verde, but you get the idea. And you can see how somebody could be in here. You get that wet bandana around their head, around their neck. You're going to want to move rocks, though, for your shade shelter. And this is a time when the sun's starting to go down, the shadows are getting longer. This is a time that you can find those snakes crossing the path, sunning themselves somewhere, get their body warm before the night chill comes. So keep your eyes out.